So if someone were to come up to you and ask, who is George, what would you say?
He's a fucking asshole. I don't know. They'd probably say some nice things about me. They might say that he's one of the only straight edge kids in the scene that people know. But then that's a lie because we also have Finn. I think they'd say right now I'm pretty poppin' because of the piercing. I've been saying my name a lot, and I just feel like whenever I hear my name is attached to anything, it's mostly about my piercings. So I guess anyone asks like who's Short Sales, it'd be like it's that one dude who pierces at Tough City Tattoos and Richwood Studio Tattoos. So I'm basically all city. We'll keep it like that. But yeah, I think that's the gist of it because also I'll have Passage and right now we're kind of been on the hush hush because we're writing new stuff, so we're trying to like not be too high profile right now. But for the most part, I think it'll go down to this: vegan straight edge dude who pierces and plays in a band. I think those are the three things you have to remember when it comes to me.
What is straight edge as it relates to you, and why should anyone care?
Ooh, that's a good question. Straight edge has been possibly like it. Actually, not possibly. It is the most important aspect of my life at the moment. Straight edge is just a belief that you remain clean, you don't do drugs, you don't smoke, you don't do any self-destructive behavior that can kind of bite you in the ass later in life. I believe it can be very important to the hardcore scene or any scene because it's just more not about just being clean. It's definitely involved a lot of the sense of family and being able to tolerate. Remember, I don't want to use tolerate, just accept one another. Because there's a lot of edge kids that I know who are very, very accepting of, people who have double addictions and stuff like that. A lot of people who are straight edge now used to be addicts or they used to do drugs, stuff like that. Like, personally, I used to drink and I used to do it quite often. So, whenever, anyone brings up straight edge to me, I try to kind of, wouldn't say sugarcoat it, but I like to envelope it in a different way because there's a lot of negative connotation to straight edge, and I feel like that's just bullshit because it's not really the case. Like a few bad apples shouldn't ruin everything for us. I just think it's a very positive thing. I think everything in essence, and what's the word I want to use? Anything in what's that word you use? Moderation. There you go. Anything in moderation is good. So I don't use straight edge as a means to demean anybody or make anyone feel like they're less than anything. It's just for me. It's just something that works for me. And it's something very personal to me. I don't beat up on anybody who feels the need that they need to have to go smoke after their show or something like that. It's just something that when I wake up, I can find a purpose in getting up and be like, yeah, you know what? Today I'm not fucked up. Today I'm not doing this. Like I can get up and be like, yeah, I don't feel like a piece of shit. And it's just, I think sobriety, in essence, is just very, calming for me because I'm full of anxiety. And me being, me being sober and clean, kind of calms me down because when I used to drink when I was younger, it would, I don't know, I guess it would kind of scare me. And just straight edge now, it's a very personal belief system. Granted, there's a group of people who follow it, but when the real rule behind straight edge is realize that it's for you. What I feel about straight edge might be completely different to someone else who feels about straight edge. Some people take it to the heart, where it's straight edge or die. Me, I'm a person it's for me. I don't care if you're straight edge. I don't care if you're not. I keep it to myself. I try not to be. Oh, there you go. I try not to be. I try not to be really militant about it. But then again, it's kind of hard when you have it tattooed on your arm. So. I try to be respectful for it, but for the most part, straight edge is the most important thing in my life at the moment, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And as it comes to positivity, it just really depends on what you think is positive too, and it can be positive for you, because anything that we do can be positive for us in a different type of way. Some people think straight edge is not positive. I beg to differ, but that just really depends from person to person.
What?
Okay, I'm ready to break hearts.
How is the music scene today as it relates to you, and should anyone care about it?
Yes. That's my answer. Music scene. I mean, like a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, and I don't want to jump on any kind of tailcoats of any kind. So I'll just say like more or less what you asked me. I mean, it really. I fucking love it. I love everything about it. I grew up in like the hardcore scene, metalcore scene, and I came in like people had open arms for me. So it was never a case where I came in I felt like I was alone. I came into the hardcore scene. I don't even want to give dates because I'm not even too sure myself. I know it was like 14, 15 at tops, I think. And it was just a different environment for me. It was just something for me to get away from. You know, I live in the hood. So, like, I try not to stay around outside. I try not to go home too late. But, like, going to these shows is, like, a different environment. It allowed me to be myself and not have to hear, like, all this crazy fucking bullshit from people calling me, like, yo, you're a white boy, you listen to hardcore. You're a white boy because you do this and this and the other. You're a goth. It's like, don't want to hear that. You go to shows, like, no one gives a fuck about that. They just want to go to a show, have fun, maybe break someone's nose and then be friends with that dude later. So, like, stuff like that is what really, like, kind of, like, motivates me to keep staying in the scene and, you know, keep and have fun and, like, be friends and, like, write music for these people. Because it's, like, I think a lot of the misconception is that we're all, like, savages and shit like that, and it's not the case. Like, you know, everyone that's in the scene, like, they're in there for a reason. There's people who don't like each other for a reason, and it's, like, that's just how that's how life is. I feel like people don't understand hardcore enough to really understand why we do things that we do or why do we, you know, go to shows, stuff like that. It's just for me, it's like a means of an escape. It allows me to relax. I know when I get too pent up, I have to go to a show. Go to a show. Once I'm out, I'm good. I'm back to normal. I don't have to like fucking yell at anybody. Cause me, George at like a 10 is like the worst. I don't ever want to get out of 10. I don't like it. So when I go to shows, I try to make sure like I have fun. You know, I dance with my boys. You know, we like, you know, like even just like not even dancing. Sometimes just enjoying the show. Like that's enough for me. I think it's relevant. If people think it's important, they should pay attention to it because I think a lot of people are very stuck in this bubble on what they think music's supposed to be like. They think that music is just, I listen to this band, only I listen to this band, and no one else listens to this band, so fuck anybody who likes this band. And it's like, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, oh, we listen to this band, let's go to a show together. Like, it should be, you know, what's the word? Camaraderie, I guess that's the word. So it's kind of hard that to battle that bubble, like, logic that people have, where you're just like, oh, you like that band, well, I can't like them anymore because you like them and they're not cool anymore. It's just like, I don't like that hipster bullshit. Like, there's just no need for that. Like, if I like, let's say, okay, let's talk about Icarus. If I like Icarus and some other dude likes Icarus, we're gonna go to a fucking show together. We're not gonna be like, oh, we like Icarus, man, fuck you. Like, it's bullshit. So I think, like, a lot of people just don't understand how the music scene works. And I feel like it's important to be involved in it just so you can understand that like, from a sociological point of view, how different it is to be part of something that's not necessarily mainstream or necessarily accepted. Like I said before, hardcore, metalcore, all these genres, deathcore, like, they have a very negative connotation. And I feel that's just people fearing. Like, that's just like shit that came from like their parents and their grandparents. Like, when heavy metal was a big thing, people were fucking terrified of Ozzy Osbourne and Marilyn Manson. And it's just like, no one knew how that worked out. And so they're just like, I'm just gonna just run with it. And they teach their kids to be afraid of it, and they teach their kids to be afraid of it. And then here we are now, like, we're like considered the quote-unquote revolution generation, or aka also the lazy generation. But this is where we're the first generation where we don't want to think like that. So I think that this is where hardcore and music in general is at its all-time high, because now we're like starting to, you know, we think for ourselves. We do what we need to do. We need to just fucking work together. I'm rambling right now because it's actually kind of like a big deal for me, but it's just like, I don't talk about it too much because it's just, no one ever asked me. But it's just, I don't know, it's just something important. It took care of me. Like, I went into this shit not knowing anybody, and there was never a time where I went in and I felt unwelcome. It's like, even now, like, I'm fucking 22 years old. I'm still a baby. But it's like, even now, everyone I grew up in a scene with is still here. You know, everyone's still cool with one another. Granted, there's some beef among other people and stuff like that. People are, like, not cool anymore, but that's all normal. That's all, like, how life works. But Yeah. Hardcore fucking birthed me. Hardcore birthed George Jesus. Straight edge. Vegan straight edge George Jesus. So, it's very important to me. Hardcore is very important to me. And I think it should be important to other people too. Again, like I say, I just think people don't. I think people just don't understand it because they're fed like stuff from their parents, like, oh, listen to things that scream, or don't listen to this band, listen to that band, so they get afraid. And then when they see people like punching each other at shows, they're just like, fuck, like I don't want to do this. But I mean, at the end of the day, like when you do go to these shows, you realize that everyone's there to have a good time. I usually hear about people standing like at shows like furrow browed and shit, and I don't really have that here. We don't really have that. Everyone's fucking jumping around. You know, like I guess that's like my favorite thing about New York hardcore scene in general. There's so much history here, and then like it's still here. Like even now, like I still run into like old dudes from like the hardcore scene, and like they're telling me the same shit. Like yeah, it's always been energetic. So it's fucking. It's just important to me. I feel like it's important to everyone, and I feel like some people have this idea that when you're hardcore, you're supposed to be this tough dude. It's whatever. Dude, I'm mad skinny. Like, I don't fight. I rather just pierce people, make music, and I'm good. And as regard to people who are always had this tough macho attitude, had to be like furrow browed at shows, there's this band called Rape Revenge that has a very, very good fucking quote that I like to say. They say it at one of their songs, if you're not here with a smile, then why the fuck are you here? And that's a song actually about the macho attitude in hardcore. I feel like if you go to hardcore shows, you should have fun. You shouldn't be there to like fucking kill everybody or start fights. You know, everyone's there with their friends, with their family, their brothers, whatever you want to call them. Like everyone's here to have a good time. And I feel like this is the shit. That's all I can really say. It made me who I am today, and I only wish that people get into the hardcore scene and it proves to be something positive for them, because it definitely is a positive experience, and it was for me. So yeah, that's my bit. Also, I play in a band called Passage. We are a melodic hardcore band from Brooklyn. So if you want to listen to us, we have a Facebook link, facebook.com/xpassagex. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, and Xbox Music. So if you want to check that stuff out, it's also cool. The name of the EP is Amber Trails. We're pretty cool cats. You should definitely check us out. We always get back our shows. We just did a tour in China in the summer, so I mean, I don't know if that counts or anything. I hope it does. But yeah, you should definitely check our stuff out for sure.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.